My family forgot me on my birthday. When I asked why, I found out they had chosen my brother. Guys, you won't believe what happened on my birthday. I'm still processing it. You know that moment when you realize you've always been sidelined? That no matter how hard you tried, you were never a priority for your own family? On my birthday, I finally saw the truth. I thought it would be a special day, but all I found was silence. When I asked why, I discovered something that broke my heart, but also set me free. Here's how it all began. The morning light streamed through my blinds, casting a soft glow in the kitchen. Today was my birthday, 22 years old. Not a major milestone, but I still wanted to celebrate. I chose a simple blue dress and baked a cake with my own hands. Everything seemed so ordinary until I glanced at my phone. It sat there, silent on the counter, next to a family photo. A picture taken 3 summers ago at Lake Winnebago, before I moved out. In it, my mom has her arm around Jacob, and my dad's hand rests on his back. Me? I'm slightly apart, smiling so widely it looked like I was trying to bridge the distance between us, as if that smile could erase all the unspoken things. Today, the calendar on my wall reminded me of the date, circled in red, a hope I'd nurtured weeks ago. But when I checked my phone, nothing. No messages, no signs. Not even from my mom, who always woke me up with a birthday cake. I started convincing myself it was still early, that everyone was just busy, but the knot in my chest wouldn't loosen. So I sent a message to the family group chat. Hey, what time are we meeting for dinner tonight? And I waited. 3 dots appeared, then nothing. Minutes passed. I watered my plants, checked emails, adjusted picture frames. Still nothing. Maybe they'd forgotten. Maybe they were busy, but I typed again, with less patience this time. Mom, Dad, just confirming dinner tonight. The silence stretched longer than I expected. My stomach twisted. That familiar ache. I'd felt it before. At my high school graduation, when they whispered about Jacob's science fair instead. At my college awards dinner when they left early for his baseball game. But not today. Not on my birthday. I hit the call button before I could stop myself. My heart raced as the phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Finally, my mom's voice, distracted. Oh, hi, Sarah. What's up? Something in her tone sent a chill through me. Hi, Mom. Just checking about dinner tonight. A pause. Too long. Then her reply, Dinner? She sounded genuinely confused. Oh, sweetie, I meant to tell you earlier. I already knew what was coming. We're going out with Jacob tonight to celebrate. The air left my lungs. But it's my birthday. Is it today? Her voice feigned surprise. But I knew it wasn't real. I'd heard real surprise when my dad brought her flowers last week. I could tell the difference. Jacob laughed in the background. Tell her we'll bring leftovers. Rage burned inside me, so sharp it nearly shattered my composure. This wasn't forgetfulness. It was a choice. I was being sidelined. Right, I said, my voice eerily calm. Jacob's scholarship dinner? Oh, so you remembered. Her relief was palpable, as if I'd handed her the perfect excuse. We wanted to include you, honey, but the reservation was limited and... It's fine, I cut in. Have a good night. And just like that, I was 16 again, watching my mom fix Jacob's hair for a school photo. I was 18, my achievements overlooked as they praised Jacob's art award. I was 21, helping Jacob move into his dorm while they reminisced about Dad's college days. Now, at 22, I finally understood. I'd moved away physically, but emotionally, the distance was already there. I wasn't just forgotten. I was a choice, and not the one they'd made. 6 months ago, I left home, foolishly believing distance would make their hearts grow fonder. I kept trying, calling every week, showing up for Sunday dinners, clinging to the illusion of a normal, loving family. What a waste of hope. Now, I stared at my reflection in the microwave door. My eyes were red and swollen. Slowly, deliberately, I unclasped the silver necklace around my throat, the one my mom gave me last Christmas. It wasn't picked just for me. It was the same one she gave to Bethany and Aunt Lisa, a practical, efficient gift. 1 piece of jewelry, 3 women checked off the list. I left the necklace on the counter and turned away. My phone buzzed, not from my parents, from Daniel. Happy birthday. Can't wait to see you tonight. Daniel, who always smiled when he saw me, whose parents had casually asked my favorite cake flavor last week, a question I now realized was anything but casual. I deleted the half-written message to my parents, my hands trembling slightly. Instead, I called Daniel. When he answered, my voice surprised me with its steadiness. Hey, got plans tonight? The words, "They're celebrating Jacob instead," almost spilled out, but I swallowed them. Through the window, a red cardinal perched on the railing, its vivid color stark against the soft afternoon light. What? Daniel's voice sharpened. But it's your birthday. Apparently that's not enough for them, I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. Mom thought Jacob's dinner was more important. A pause, then firmly. I'm coming to get you. No, I'm fine. Sarah. Just my name, spoken with such certainty, stopped me. You shouldn't be alone on your birthday. I grabbed my purse. Part of me didn't want his pity. I'd spent years hiding how much this hurt. But today, something inside me broke. Something that had been holding on for 22 years. Okay, I whispered. Minutes later, Daniel knocked on my door. When I opened it, he pulled me into a hug so tight, so real. No words were needed. For the first time in forever, I felt like I belonged somewhere. My phone stayed in my pocket, ignored. As Daniel's parents parked the car, they mentioned reservations at Bellini, an Italian restaurant I'd once praised. The place was elegant, but warm, with crisp linens and soft lighting that made it feel upscale yet inviting. Soon Robert raised a champagne glass. Not just for your birthday, he said, smiling. For your future. We can't wait to see where your talent takes you, Sarah, and to finally meet the girl Daniel won't stop talking about. They asked about my new job, my apartment, my dreams. Real questions, from people who genuinely cared. No one interrupted to talk about Jacob. No one checked their phone when the waiter brought tiramisu with a candle. Something settled inside me. Words I'd never dared say aloud. Maybe I'd been looking for family in the wrong place. Daniel's mom insisted on photos. Just you two, by the fireplace. She positioned us, stepping back to adjust the angle. Perfect. I smoothed my blue dress, the same one I'd worn that morning when I still believed my family would remember, and leaned into Daniel. His arm around my waist made the world fade away. Smile, his dad called before snapping the picture. The flash captured the moment. Another memory made. Back at Daniel's house, we settled on the couch. His parents bustled in the kitchen, arranging coffee and petits fours they'd brought from the restaurant. The night was easy, like a warm blanket. The clink of dishes, the murmur of conversation, the absence of that familiar knot in my stomach. We should take a photo to remember tonight, Daniel said, reaching for his phone. I froze. I can take it. Not this time, he replied, pulling me closer. The birthday girl has to be in the picture. The realization hit me like a punch. I'd spent years documenting others' celebrations. My mom asking me to get a good shot of Jacob blowing out the candles. My dad handing me his phone to capture the family moments. But I was never truly in them. Daniel's parents returned with coffee and cake, and before we ate, his mom took more photos. Daniel and me alone, all four of us, using the timer. When she showed me the results, my throat tightened. I was smiling, not the practiced, exaggerated grin I'd perfected for family gatherings, but a real one. My eyes sparkled. I looked happy. Send me those? I asked, my voice softer than I intended. Later, when his parents had gone to bed and we were alone in the living room, I scrolled through the night's photos. The contrast was stark. In Daniel's family photos, I was visible, celebrated. In my own family's albums, I was a ghost, always behind the camera or slightly apart, smiling too hard, always reaching. 22 years. 22 years of excuses. Jacob needs more attention right now. They show love differently. Family is complicated. My finger hovered over Instagram. I rarely posted anything personal. What was the point? My family hardly ever engaged, and I'd spent years curating a harmless feed that wouldn't embarrass them. But tonight, something shifted inside me, like a gear finally clicking into place after years of grinding. You okay? Daniel asked, returning from the kitchen with 2 glasses of water. Just thinking. I tapped the screen, creating a new story. I chose one of the dinner photos. Daniel's arm around me, his parents beside us, my genuine smile. The caption took 4 tries. I deleted each draft, second-guessing every word. Too bitter, too needy, too revealing. Finally, I typed, "Huge thanks to Daniel and his amazing family for making my birthday special. So grateful for people who truly care." My thumb hovered over share. Years of family teachings echoed in my mind. Don't make a scene. Don't embarrass us. Keep family matters private. Is this too much? I showed Daniel the screen, the old doubt creeping in. He read it twice, then met my eyes. "It's just the truth, Sarah. Only the truth. No attacks, no drama. Just the truth, plain and simple." I hit share before I could overthink it. The post went live, its 24-hour countdown beginning. My stomach clenched, then relaxed. There was something freeing about finally saying out loud what I'd known for years. My phone buzzed almost immediately. A heart from my college roommate. Then another notification. And another. "Happy birthday, Sarah. You deserve to be celebrated. You look beautiful. Hope it was a special day. I remember when you brought cupcakes for everyone on your 10th birthday. You've always been so thoughtful." I blinked at that last one. It was from Mrs. Henderson, my 5th grade teacher. I hadn't spoken to her in years, yet she remembered a detail about me that my own parents probably forgot. More messages poured in. Former classmates, neighbors, a cousin on my mom's side I only saw at holidays. "Glad you had people to celebrate with you the right way. You deserve the best, always. Gorgeous photo. Happy birthday." The validation washed over me like waves. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't selfish. Others saw what I'd been denying for so long. "Look at all these," I murmured, showing Daniel my phone. He squeezed my hand. "People care about you, Sarah. A lot of people." For an hour, notifications kept coming. Messages, birthday wishes. I replied to each, feeling lighter with every response. Daniel and I moved to the kitchen for more cake, talking about everything and nothing. For the first time that day, I didn't check to see if my family had texted. Then my phone buzzed with a different tone. A text. "What is this post, Sarah?" My mom. Before I could process, another arrived. My dad this time. "Are you serious right now?" Then Jacob. "Drama much?" My phone started ringing. My mom's face filled the screen. I stared, remembering all the times I'd answered immediately, afraid to disappoint her further. A second call came 15 seconds after the first. My dad. A third right after. Daniel watched me carefully. "You don't have to answer." "I know." And for the first time, I truly did. I silenced my phone and placed it face down on the counter. 5 minutes later, I picked it up again. 7 missed calls. 12 texts. The family group chat was imploding. I took a deep breath and hit callback. My mom answered on the first ring, her voice tight with controlled fury. "Finally! What do you think you're doing with that post? People are calling me." Without warning, I hit speaker and set the phone between me and Daniel. His presence steadied me as I prepared to speak my truth for the second time that night. "Hi, Mom," I said calmly. "I was just thanking the people who remembered my birthday." "Delete it now!" My dad's voice cut in. They must have been on speaker too. "This is completely inappropriate, Sarah." I looked at Daniel. He nodded encouragement. "No." The single word felt strange and powerful in my mouth. "I don't think I will." I sat motionless in Daniel's living room, my mom's voice filling the space through the phone. My hands trembled slightly in my lap, but my voice stayed steady. A small victory. I clung to it like a life raft in choppy waters. "What on earth are you doing, Sarah? People are seeing this." My mom's voice rose, that special tone reserved for public embarrassment and social gaffes. Daniel sat beside me, close enough to offer support but giving me space to fight my own battle. His parents had discreetly retreated to the kitchen but remained within earshot, close enough to step in, far enough to grant privacy. I'd chosen this battlefield deliberately, surrounded by witnesses who actually cared, not isolated, where I'd be easier to manipulate. "What am I doing?" I repeated, surprised by my own calm. "I'm thanking the people who actually showed up for my birthday." "Take that post down now," my dad interrupted, his anger vibrating through the speaker. He must have snatched the phone from my mom. "You have no idea how this could affect you. My phone buzzed with new texts. Jacob. Mom and Dad are furious. What were you thinking? Another. You're blowing this way out of proportion. What struck me most was what they didn't say. None of them wrote, "Sorry we forgot your birthday." No mention of how I might be feeling. Their only concern was the family's image, how this made them look to friends, to distant relatives. "I'm not deleting it," I said, before I could second-guess myself. I posted the truth. Daniel's family made my birthday special while you chose to celebrate Jacob. Sarah Elizabeth Winter, my dad's voice dropped dangerously. There will be consequences if you keep up this childish behavior. Silence stretched between us. Daniel reached for my hand, grounding me as the floor seemed to crumble. What consequences? I finally asked, my voice steadier than I expected. You've made my place clear. We're coming over, my dad announced abruptly. This isn't a phone conversation. I glanced at Daniel. He gave a slight nod and squeezed my hand. Fine, I said. I'm at Daniel's. His parents are here. The long pause that followed said everything. They'd expected me to be alone, vulnerable, easier to manipulate. We can talk tomorrow, my mom interjected smoothly. When you're thinking more clearly. The attempt at warmth felt like a slap. How convenient that she remembered affection now. No, I said firmly. If you want to talk, come now. Otherwise, we have nothing left to discuss. 43 minutes later, they arrived. My mom's smile was strained as she exchanged pleasantries with Daniel's parents in the foyer. My dad stood rigid beside her, his eyes scanning the well-decorated house as if searching for an advantage. We'd like to speak with our daughter privately, he declared, not quite making it a request. Daniel's dad, a man I'd known less than a year but who'd remembered my birthday without reminders, stepped forward. Sarah can have privacy if she wants, he said, but she also has support here. Family matters stay within the family, my dad retorted, jaw clenched. Sarah is like family to us, Daniel's dad replied evenly. She has the right to support. My mom's face paled. The script was slipping from their hands. The script where they arrived crushed me with authority and left with my submission guaranteed. I saw in their eyes the dawning realization that they were on unfamiliar ground. Sarah, honey, my mom tried again, her voice sweetened with false concern. We just want to understand what upset you so much. The question was so disingenuous I almost laughed. You really don't know? I asked. You forgot my birthday to celebrate Jacob. That's not fair, my dad snapped. You didn't forget, I cut him off, surprised by my own steel. Jacob's dinner was planned weeks ago. I saw it on the family calendar. You chose to exclude me on my birthday. We were going to celebrate with you this weekend, my mom insisted, but her eyes flickered away. No, you weren't, I said, a certainty settling over me. This is what you always do. Treat me like an afterthought, if you remember me at all. Silence filled the room. In their faces, I saw something I'd never seen before. The discomfort of acknowledging a truth they could no longer deny. At least, not to themselves. For the first time, they saw me. And I saw them. Fully. Completely. Daniel's living room felt like a courtroom. The air was thick, almost visible under the soft light filtering through the curtains. I sat with my spine straight against the firm sofa cushions, my hands resting motionless in my lap. Across the room, my mom adjusted the pearl necklace she wore for important client dinners and tried to smile, but her eyes remained cold. Sarah, sweetheart, this is all a misunderstanding. We were planning to surprise you this weekend. My dad positioned himself like he was facing a difficult client, feet apart, hands clasped in front of him. This social media spectacle needs to end now. You're damaging the family's reputation. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. Another text from Jacob. I picked it up deliberately and turned the screen so everyone could see. Tell Mom and Dad I'm going to Ryan's. Don't wait up. What a wonderful celebration, I said, my voice firmer than I'd expected. My mom's eyes instantly welled with tears. Manipulative tears, the same ones I'd seen at charity galas when she needed to appear moved by someone's generosity. After everything we've done for you, Sarah, she whispered, voice breaking. The opportunities we gave you, the support from Grandma's trust fund, I finished for her. That could be reconsidered, my dad interjected, his voice cold and professional. Financial decisions require maturity and loyalty to the family. The words hung in the air like a revelation. Money. It had always been about money. Every birthday check, every tuition payment, every gift with invisible strings. "We've always supported you more than Jacob," my mom insisted, carefully avoiding smudging her mascara. "He just needed more attention because of his special qualities." A strange calm settled over me. "Name one achievement of mine you properly celebrated." Silence stretched between us, punctuated only by the distant clink of dishes in the kitchen. Daniel's parents, giving us privacy but close enough to intervene if needed. "My high school graduation," I said, raising a finger. "You spent the ceremony whispering about Jacob's science fair." "My college awards dinner," I added another finger. "You left early for his baseball game." "My first job offer," I raised a third. "You asked if I shouldn't hold out for something better, while planning Jacob's graduation party a year in advance." I unlocked my phone, scrolled through my calendar, and showed them. "You didn't forget my birthday. You scheduled Jacob's scholarship dinner on the same day, just like you've scheduled something for him on every important date of my life. That's not forgetfulness. It's choice." I turned the screen to them again, displaying a photo album. Empty chairs at my events, half-eaten celebration cakes, solo photos where my family should have been beside me. "You're twisting everything." My mom's voice rose, her polite facade cracking. "These are isolated incidents you're connecting to create a false narrative." My dad stepped forward, jaw locked. "If you want to remain part of this family, delete that social media post and stop this ridiculous performance." And there it was. Something inside me broke free, not crumbling, liberating. I was never part of this family, was I? My voice was steady. I was always the spectator, the photographer, the cheerleader, never the priority. I pulled a small leather notebook from my bag. "I started writing it all down 3 years ago," I said, flipping pages. "Every forgotten moment, every canceled plan, every celebration interrupted for Jacob. It's all here." My mom's eyes widened at the physical evidence of my pain, tangible proof that couldn't be dismissed as emotional exaggeration. "I'm done pretending," I continued, my voice gaining strength. "Either acknowledge how you've treated me or leave me alone. Now the choice is yours, not mine." My dad's face flushed red, like when a business deal went south. "You'll regret this when you need us, Sarah. Don't come crying when life gets hard." "Sarah," my mom hissed, glancing toward the kitchen where Daniel's parents pretended not to listen. "People are seeing your story online. What will everyone think?" Daniel moved to the couch, sitting beside me. He didn't touch me, but his presence was solid. "I hope they're watching," I replied, staring first at my mom, then my dad. Maybe it'll help someone else speak up too. The shock on their faces almost made up for years of pain. They realized they'd lost. The invisible, obedient daughter who always stayed silent had found her voice. And now, others were listening. My dad checked his watch, a nervous habit when he was losing control. My mom's fingers tightened around her pearl necklace. For the first time in my life, they had nothing to say to me. For the first time, I didn't fill the silence with apologies. I just waited, breathing deep into the unfamiliar sensation of standing in my truth while they scrambled to rewrite it. But some stories can't be edited after they're told. And finally, mine belonged to me. Morning light streamed through my apartment curtains. A month had passed since my birthday, and this place finally felt like mine. No more generic decorations chosen to avoid criticism. No more silencing myself. I ran my fingers over the beautiful leather journal Daniel's parents had given me, displayed proudly on the shelf beside a delicate handmade jewelry box. Small gifts, chosen with care. The kind that said, "I see you." My phone buzzed with a calendar notification. But now, I didn't flinch when the screen lit up. I'd filtered my contacts. I deleted the family group chat. The constant knot in my stomach finally began to loosen. "Ready?" Daniel called from the kitchen, where he was washing our dishes. I smoothed the emerald green blouse I'd bought last week, a color I'd always loved but rarely worn. "Too bold," my mom would have said. "Attention-seeking." I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. It wasn't just the blouse or the confident posture. It was something in my eyes. The anxious girl seeking approval on my birthday was finally gone. The issue with emotional neglect, Doctor, Lewis had explained in our third session, is that it's defined by what didn't happen. I nodded, my fingers twisting in my lap. That's why I doubted myself for so long, I said, my voice hesitant. There was no dramatic blow-up, no obvious sign, just a constant, reliable absence wherever my needs were. And how does it feel to name that? She leaned forward, her eyes kind, as if it were possible I wasn't crazy after all. My voice caught in my throat, like I'd spent my life trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. Later that week, I found myself in a circle of strangers who quickly became anything but adult children of emotionally neglectful parents. The group was raw. Their stories echoed mine in unsettling ways when my phone showed 3 missed calls from my mom. After the meeting, I deleted the notifications without listening to voicemail. The guilt I'd expected never came. That night, at my desk, I focused. Christmas cards had always been my responsibility for the whole family. This year, my list was shorter but more meaningful. Each name represented someone who'd truly shown up, while my parents' and Jacob's names remained beside my pen. After a moment's hesitation, I turned their names face down in my calendar box. I'd already marked my next birthday, not with expectations of others, but with plans for myself. Sunrise, a hike, my favorite bakery. I'd written a promise to celebrate, regardless of who joined. Your parents are telling everyone you abandoned the family after all they did for you. My Aunt Meredith's text arrived on a Tuesday morning. I stared at it a long time before typing back. They're entitled to their version of events. My thumb hovered over send. Then I added, I'm open to a relationship that includes mutual respect and care. 3 days later, Jacob's name appeared on my screen. For the first time since the confrontation, I realized what he was trying to do with his read receipt. I always thought you had the better deal because they left you alone while micromanaging me. I didn't reply immediately. Healing wasn't linear, and relationships couldn't be forced. I saved the message, leaving a tiny opening that might one day lead somewhere, if he was willing to grow. From my parents, there was only deafening silence. No acknowledgement, no ownership. Just the void I'd always known, now honestly laid bare for the family to see. We choose. I raised my glass, looking around the dinner table at the faces lit by candlelight and the strength of choosing our own paths. Daniel's mom reached for my hand and squeezed gently. My friend smiled from across the table. My college roommate clinked her glass against mine. The warmth of this room was a world away from that lonely birthday just months ago. My eyes flickered briefly to the empty chair I'd left in the corner. Not with desperate hope, but with peaceful acknowledgement that doors could remain unlocked without waiting for someone to walk through. After dessert, I slipped away briefly into my home office. The blog draft was nearly ready, healing from family estrangement. Comments had already started pouring in from early readers, people who saw their stories in mine. I glanced at the unsent letter I'd written. I'm still here. If you ever want to truly know me, I'm ready. Maybe one day they would be. Maybe not. For now, I had this moment, this chosen family who loved without conditions or competition. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is rewrite your own story. If you were in her place, what would you have done differently? Leave your comment.